Action.
What's good, guys? Another week, end of March. Hope y'all doing well. Gregory on vinyls. I got some classics for y'all, some R&B and some classic stuff. Let's get into it. Got a banger first up. Michael Jackson Thriller. All right. First off, if you didn't know, one of the highest selling albums of all time. Just overall, this album sold so many copies, and during the time, one of the peak music videos of its time. Thriller was absolutely amazing. As you can see, it's a double sided, which I freaking love. It has just him and his pretty boys self, and then him with the monsters. Couple of favorites of mine: Pretty Young Thing, Beat It. I mean, you really can't go wrong. This is a perfect album. This album goes in without a doubt one of those top echelons of albums of probably music in the entirety. So Michael Jackson deserves his credit and is definitely the king of pop in my book, and one of the cleanest albums of all time. So next we have Diana Ross, Eaten Alive. This album, first off, it sounds amazing on vinyl. It sounds like you're definitely in like the safari and like judging the album timer. Also, peep the vinyl in the middle that has the tiger. I love the album cover. Diana Ross just being the queen that she is. Chain Reaction, one of my favorite songs. The self-titled Eaten Alive and Oh Teacher. Peep the back. I just like how Deanna's presence musically and just artistically is just pleasing. Like she's all obviously a great looking woman, but she's just also a great looking artist. Like she captures the whole physique of a singer and just has just a singer's vibe. This is truly one of those albums that you play that if you're with like your girl or with your guy, this is a good album to put on. Y'all both have a good time and vibe. So I definitely love this album for Diana, and Diana's coming up next in an upcoming one. So bear with me. Next, biggest classic of all time, Purple Rain, with the obviously the self-titled Purple Rain song. There's also plenty of other bangers on this album. Peep, the All Purple. I love just how unique the purple is. If you get really close, you can see that there's black lining on it. It's a beautiful album. It's a very beautiful album. Prince is one of the. Speaking of fantastic artists and fantastically dressed, what Prince did artistically, even on this album or even in his career, should be noted. And it's just so crazy to see that this growth of him and also his style and how much it's still in play in the world today. And I just gotta give credit where credit is due, because not only did he grow artistically, he grew across the world. And like, if you know Prince, you know that motherfucker doesn't fall for anything. He got some hands, I ain't gonna lie, and he also got some style. So this album is definitely one of my prized ones, and I don't play this for a lot of people. So this one's definitely, as far as the classics, one of the best classic albums of all time. I told y'all to hang on to your popcorn for Diana. I got Diana and Marvin Gaye. One of those classics, and one of the first collab albums between two major people, especially in their genre, two pronoun singers. You Are Everything is one of the bangers. You Are a Special Part of Me. Just this album solidifies just how two great artists can come together and just blend. Just Say, another great song, and I also love the vinyl. I love the opening, so you just open it and then the vinyl sits there. I love that. And then I also love the back of this vinyl. Kind of simple, but like them two artistically, I just felt like they put together a masterpiece of an album. And as far as the classics back then, this was just a fantastic album. And they did wonderful. So that's these four. I got more classics, and we're gonna get through to them. So you stop it. All right, back to the classics. We have Sheila E. Romance 1600. This one it was part of that disco electro era, and it's also just kind of just it's not it. The beats feel like you're just going to the disco party and just fucking doing the disco all night, and um, it's an amazing album. Um, Love is Bizarre is one of the I Love Bizarre correction is one of the best songs on this album. Sister Fate is also a good song on this album, and I also like in the album on the vinyl itself. It has the Warner Brothers tag, and you can see how just like decorated that is. And Sheila E. She was one of those queens of disco. I feel like disco now definitely doesn't get the hype it deserves because back then there was obviously Coke, the Coke era, which made disco very popular, but this still deserves to be played in like a lot of scenarios at the club. But you know, us young kids just like crazy shit now. But anyways, I also peeped the back. This is all the people in her crew. Sheila E. Yeah, this is one of the very first start of her albums. Very classic disco music. All right, next we have the Jimi Hendrix Experience. The best one, my favorite, it has my favorite Jimi Hendrix song. Also, Peep the Vinyl. I like the middle. It has, again, I've always said this to you guys. If you're gonna have an all black vinyl, something in the middle has to go crazy, and like it kind of does. It showed the Jimi Hendrix Experience. There's two ways you can look at it. So sober, it sounds like a bunch of stuff, a bunch of music that is just going together, but it's flowing, right? The Jimi Hendrix High, you just feel so euphoric, and like Purple Haze sounds like this beautiful little map that you're going through, but you don't know where you're gonna land. And but I feel like that's all about Jimi Hendrix as the artist. Like every song feels like you're going through a journey, and you might not know where you're going, but you're going to a journey. So he's just an amazing artist and performer. Obviously, there's two other people in the band, but I'm just gonna talk about Jimi Hendrix because he's that dude to me. So Purple again. If you'd have a chance and you just vibing one day, please listen to Purple Haze. It's one of the best songs ever. Next, we have the Dells, Like It Was. This is a little classic orchestra type vibe. Also, peep on this vinyl how big Cadet is. Like I said, back then, your record label kind of not defined you as who you were, but it defied like what type of vibe you brought. Obviously, like I told you about AC/DC, they were on Atlantic, and they're on all of their albums. The Adeles were on Cadet, and they kind of had that good brother vibe to them. Like, I'm not afraid of tomorrow. Oh, what a day. Come out. Open up my heart. All these vibes, they kind of just bring together a group of guys, and they just like all harmonizing on one flow, one beat, and that's kind of the vibe of the Dells. The Dells are the type of people you play like when you're just trying to like clean some music, but also just like vibe out and kind of break out in a dance. That's what the Dells are to me, and very good album, very underrated. They're a very underrated group. They're very classic, but they're also just bring out like those best classical hits. So if you ever get a chance, the Dells, definitely worth a listen. Love the back too. They're all in suits, so it just brings like an artistic vibe, and y'all know I love that shit. Next, we have Voyage. Not gonna lie, I didn't know who these people were when I first like looked into it. But shout out my friend Arion, by the way. He gave me this vinyl. And also again, peep Atlantic. It kind of has. If you look back to my old video, look at the Led Zeppelin, you'll see a resemblance. But look at the vinyl, all black, with the Atlantic record label, and yeah, that has some bangers like Surrender, Nowhere, Magic in the Groove. They're a very groovy type brand. Again, I've shown you guys a lot of disco because I feel like out of all my vinyls, the disco ones show like the disco ones show how in a group, like how many people can still be together but just create such a vibe that makes you want to get on the dance floor. And I feel like right now we're at a weird stage in music. Like people are still trying to create those hits, but they're not creating hits where it's like a group of people. It's more so like songs, features. Disco back then, you could get a group of people, group of 5 people singing on a song, and they would still kind of vibe. So, disco in itself, I should maybe do a video in the future on just how disco meant to the era of music. I don't know, but disco deserves its credit and its due justice. All right, next we have the Commodores, Natural High, and this is my shit. I ain't really lie. Flying High, X-rated movie, 3 Times a Lady. This is that classic smooth music. Oh, got a strand. I don't know whose hair that is, so that's awkward. Also Peep again, all black, but look at that record label right in the middle, Motown, and it's just such a vibe. The Commodores are such a good group. Very Fosh way, they just have that player type feel, disco music, and it's just amazing. Also the makers of Brick House, Commodores. I actually got this album when I was at the Vinyl Convention Center in Philly, and it's just this vinyl it looked classic, so that's kind of why I got it, but it also is a classic because the Commodores are such a big group in disco and just deserve their due diligence and their hype because they'll get a group of people together and they'll make them start dancing. And out of all my groups, I feel like the Commodores probably brought me closer to disco music and just more group music in general, just because of the vibe, and they don't get their love, and I'm giving them now. So the Commodores, if you get a chance, please check their music out if you don't know, but now you know. Last one of the vibes, the classic vibes I got for you. First up, the Funkadelics. This is some of the classic funky music you could ever find. This is standing on the verge of the best of the Funkadelics. The Funkadelics, yeah, you could think of this is the type of music that you might listen to on shrooms, but this is some good pop, fun, funky music. It has Maggot Brain, I Know It's Good to You, I'll Bet You, hit it and quit it. Just some classic stuff. Funkadelics, if I had to describe them in one word, I would say just groovy, and just also the funk also has an art to it, as you can see with the album color. Like they're well thought out artists, and they were in the midst of the era of funk. Obviously, funk is kind of, I wouldn't say died out, but not as prevalent as it is today. And Funkadelics were definitely one of the prime groups of the funk era. So, Funkadelics, take a listen. All right. So, next we have the Bee Gees. These guys, kind of wild. If you do some backstory on them, you'll see what I mean. Love the vinyl itself, the openings of it. It's called Spirits Having Flown. These 3 together, they just know how to put together hits. I'm not gonna lie. Also, very an artistic group. This album has a lot of just different sounds to it. Search and Find, Stop, Living Together, I'm Satisfied. Also Peep the middle, the little pig or the animal with the horns. They kind of had some funky, and they were like in that disco, definitely prime Coke music era, as some would say. But they also had some slow songs that also made you think and stop and feel and just kind of vibe out to them. So the Bee Gees were definitely one of my favorite. Just little classic, little vibe that you don't really get to see nowadays, but definitely one of the vibes that you can put on at any point in time. I would say this is some good like running, walking. I'm going for a walk music if y'all ever need that. So the Bee Gees. Next, we have MC Twist and the Def Squad. Some prime hip hop shit. House jumps. You getting you getting too too much. I like it loud. Like this is some nitty gritty hip hop shit. Also, peep the artistry on the album cover. It's like this Ben's fucking chain. That thing. I got this when I was in DC, and I just saw the cover, and I just knew it was some prime hip hop, and it is. The MC Twist is definitely uh, a revered artist of his time, and this is some hip hop shit that needs to, that doesn't get a lot of hype that it does, but I feel like a lot of MCs back then, right now, don't hear about, and sometimes you at those cookouts they don't get played as often, but they definitely need to resurface hip hop like this because we, I feel like everybody needs to hear different sides of hip hop, especially that classic and that just that def tone kind of sound. So MC Twist. Next, Billy Preston. Late at Night. Very, very powerful stuff. Again, on the Motown label, please peep the middle. And Billy Preston was that dude. I mean, just by himself. Some of the bangers from this: Late at Night, All I Wanted Was You, Socket Rocket. I mean, Billy Preston, wherever he was at, he was putting on a show. And he was one of those artists that just had that flow, that feng shui, and just that moment of clarity that this dude is doing it, you know? And like, I appreciate artists that can just go on a stage by themselves and just capture an audience with their voice. And that's what Billy Preston always did, and what this vinyl does for me. Well, this is one of those classic albums that you just put on and you just vibed out to at the end of the night. Or if you want to do a Saturday night and all your friends just start dancing in the house, very nice little vibe. Billy Preston, please check this out. Lovely ladies on this album, very, very great album. And lastly, classic Lethal Weapon. If you haven't watched the movie, you're missing out on everything. This album, so as you've seen, oh shoot, I forgot. Reflective album, also on the Warner Brother label, very cool. But this album, as well as the movie, like just very like upbeat, and you feel like for most of this you're getting robbed, but you feel like the good guys are still gonna prevail, and good songs, Lethal Weapon, Coke Raid, and it's all around just a vibey album. I'm memorized, if you're not, just by how I'm also trying not to get smudge it by it all, and just the color of the album. This is only the reflective vinyl I believe I have and I've shown you, but yeah, it's very nice. Also, Lethal Weapon is a fantastic movie. Mel Gibson went crazy. Danny Glover was hilarious, and it's just a classic movie. Classic vinyl. If you haven't checked it out, please check it out. But this concludes my classics. We have cut through my vinyls, and it's been to count 60 vinyls. It was a great journey with you guys, and you're gonna see some music reviews. You're gonna see me doing more album covers in the future, and I'm gonna get some more vinyls. Don't worry. This is not like I'm done forever. So, but I just want to say thank y'all for the journey. I'll see y'all next week. Love y'all. Be safe.
Peace.
Peace.